Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's Barre and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice pianist string from right within her home. She's in such big condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yeah, controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Yeah, Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Elena if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, and you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Elena's Barre, low impact full body workouts. We are today with Nick. Hi, Nick. Great to see you. Finally, you made it. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then we have my husband. Thank you, dear, for joining us today.
Hello.
For this live stream, guys. We also have Tacticus in the chat. Great to see you, Tacticus. Yeah, where is the babushka?
Every compliment you give her, I have to undo off stream, guys, just so you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, guys, today we have a fun topic. It was actually inspired by the reactions that I got from men, mostly on Instagram, because I shared in my stories a couple of reels that other people made. And yeah, I didn't expect to get so many comments. And then I asked guys, okay, what shall we talk about? And then Plutarch, my husband, told me, well, why don't you talk about something that people are telling you to talk about? So yeah, we are going to talk about the expectations today in the relationships. And if you have any thoughts, ideas, observations, and if you'd like to share your experience with us, please drop a comment in the chat. And yeah, remember to please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And also go subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity, guys. They are doing an interesting live stream this Tuesday, as far as I know. Right, Plutarch?
Yes, we are.
I don't think it's gonna be us on our stream though.
Oh no, we still have a Wednesday stream.
Yeah, right. You do it on Wednesday, but you have it also on Tuesday. So
oh yeah, the Tuesday stream, yes. Well, we're still trying to put that together. So
okay.
I'm still talking with that. So about that. So
that's okay.
Not confirmed yet.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this live stream with this specific person. Can I say his name or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Because I know that he's an amazing content creator. I do watch his content, and I'm so glad, guys, that you are making this show happen. So yeah, look forward to it. And Tuesday works better for me because of my schedule.
And Wednesdays we're going to talk about young men problems, right?
Oh, interesting live stream. Yeah.
Yeah. The various problems that face young men today, it's, everyone wants to tell people that everyone of every era wants to tell people that they have the hardest life ever.
Yeah, right.
Very few can actually legitimately lay claim to that mantle. But I think that, on the basis of what we talk about on the Resurgence, what we're going to be talking about and have talked about on this channel, I think we can actually pretty conclusively make the case that the young men of today have it pretty damn rough.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be talking about on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm excited about all of your live streams, guys. I do my best to join you as quickly as I can after my Pilates class, and sometimes I rewatch the beginning of the show the day after, or a couple of days after the show. So yeah. This is a great comment. Tacticus sent. Elena, your mush is epic and the best. Yes, I 100% agree.
I have no idea what that is. Okay.
Mush, it means your husband in Russian.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, now you got a compliment too, darling. See?
Thank you, Tacticus.
Everyone is so concerned about my ego going big here, but yeah, okay.
No one's concerned about a man's ego getting too big. Like that ain't a thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, guys, do you want us to start with the videos, or shall we talk about the expectations and you share with me what are the expectations?
Well, I know.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was like, I know the ladies, all their girlfriends, again, make sure that team woman has expectations.
Oh, yeah.
Expectations of their man.
God, it never ends.
I wonder, can men have expectations of women? Is that allowed?
You know what? Actually, in my study, do you remember the research that I was doing for biological man, that questionnaire? I kind of tried to suggest to men that it's okay to have some expectations for women. And usually the problem is that I think because women are being raised without any expectations placed upon them, and then they become these entitled creatures that nobody knows what to do with, nobody wants to deal with them. It's because their parents, they don't place any expectations on them. There is no discipline. I was watching your Wednesday show and you guys were talking about gentle parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and look how women today are being raised. So they have a lot of expectations when they are young, when they are growing. Boys have a lot of expectations placed upon them because we evaluate them based on their performance, based on their achievements, right? We want them to achieve things. We want them to be smart and intelligent and strong and etc. The list goes on and on and on. But as for women, well, as far as she's pretty, whatever, right? You can't say no to them. And see how that lady that you were watching, guys, and I highly recommend you to go back and watch that show if you haven't seen it. How was it called? The Wednesdays show that you did, guys. I forgot.
No, that was Girl Math.
Oh, Girl Math, right. That was a fantastic show. And you were showing the video where a teacher was talking how to raise children, and she was talking about gentle parenting, and you are not allowed to say no to kids. All you can do is ask them indirect questions, which is, in my opinion, a waste of time, because if you want something done on time, you don't really have a lot of time to say. So sometimes a comment works just fine, like do this, do that, right? This is what's expected in the work environment. This is what should be expected in the relationship. A husband tells a wife what to do, and the wife is like, yes, okay, And
wait. What you just said there, what is that, Nick?
When she tells the what?
Or when the guy tells the woman what to do. What is that?
Well, that's abuse, right?
Yeah, see, we're not allowed to say those things. We're not allowed to tell our wives what to do anymore.
Well, I think that teachers don't get it, especially female teachers. And I've been watching it on social media too. Women don't link the two dots together. If nobody is holding women in particular accountable while they are growing up, if nobody is saying no to them, if they are all being raised with this gentle parenting, then nobody wants to wife these women up.
Oh no, they still will.
Well, there will be sims, right? But like this will be
The
not the men that
majority of
this.
men, as long as they got, good pair of tits,
As
good
long as
looking,
they
well.
as long as they get as long as
I'm
they
sorry
get
to say that, but
some pity sex every on the important dates, right?
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Like
they don't know any better.
right, and in the background, I've been working with Elena a lot on this. It's this idea that you cannot save all men,
Yeah.
No.
and the really sad thing is all this work that we do, in the red pill, even outside of it, talking about stuff like this. At best, I would consider it a massive wildfire success if we saved 15% of men.
Yeah.
And she really doesn't like that, as you can tell, because
yeah, I don't, because it's
well, the simp economy is real, but what really, and if you want to talk about setting expectations, and if you look throughout cultures throughout history, all cultures set their rules on the basis of 10 to 15% of people want, for lack of a better term. It's the masses are followers. They're not trendsetters. They're not out there leading and pathfinders. That's a very small percentage of people, and the rest of them will just follow. So if we can get to those 10% even of guys, and we can teach them how to, well, there's a long list of things we have to teach them. Relationship expectations is just one on the list. Then they can be the trendsetters for everyone else. And if they decide that simping and whoring are not okay, the rest of the people will get in line.
Yeah.
Tacticus, we are swimming upstream, but that's all we can do, because the alternative is, well, I don't know, Nick, what do you think the alternative is?
Just, enjoy the decline, or just keep watching people getting destroyed. You have the blue pill mentality, just be plugged in, keep getting, as a man, screwed over, follow along with the lives of the promiscuous society, or just join, awaken, and just go full hedonist. But you build nothing. You just contribute to the problem.
Yeah.
Right. So you can do that. It's as a strategy, it's valid, and I understand it. But I think we started saying this, and oh look, we're after 8 minutes in, so I can say it now. I'm not going to enjoy the decline. My view is fuck the decline, fuck the decliners, fuck them all, fuck them.
Yeah, I 100% am on board with this, because it's not helpful. It helps men to solve their issues, their immediate issues right now, but it's very short-sighted, because nobody is thinking about the children in the end. Okay, let's say like a man.
It's not even about the children. Nobody's thinking about the long-term consequences of their actions.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull a Steve here, and I'm going to tie that back to the topic today, because expectations it's another term for boundaries, but the reason we place expectations on somebody is because we are trying to induce certain future behaviors. It's an expected behavior, and when I expect something, that's future tense. I expect that in the future. But if I just live for myself today as a hedonist, well, I don't care. Oh, well, she could leave me tomorrow. Yes, she could.
Yeah. And they are okay with that.
And they will say, oh, well, I'll just get another one. And I go, great. So you are a leaf on the wind.
It didn't work out so well for Mystery, did it?
No, it didn't.
No.
And in the short term, and this is really where it comes down to it. In the short term, why bother having expectations even? Why bother having expectations of women at all in the short term? She could leave tomorrow. Why should I have an expectation of her?
Well, and it's also harder for men. It's a lot more work to place expectations on a woman and stick to your rules, stick to your guidelines for them.
Well,
because women will always push and they will test your boundaries,
okay,
right?
but you've actually illuminated something here. Is placing expectations on somebody hard work, or is the actual hard work getting them to follow the expectations?
The following, yeah.
Right. I can Elena, how many times have I told you what the expectation is versus how many times have I had to cajole you into actually meeting those expectations?
Many. I know where you are headed now, darling. Okay, we got Steve here. Hi, Steve. We miss you. How are you doing? Steve is on vacation. He needs a vacation from us, right, Steve? Once in a while. from me, maybe, right? Yeah. For women, the future doesn't exist, so anything could happen. Yeah, right. Guys, go watch that episode that the Resurgence of Sanity guys did, the girl mess. They really don't.
Well, okay. I just want to, but on this, he's actually saying something very, well, it's very Steve.
Yeah.
He's old guy. The future, when he says the future does not exist, he says that women live in the present tense. But we just said that
whole face doesn't last forever. But they can't comprehend that.
No, they can't.
Whole face, whole math.
But expectations are about the future. So when you place an expectation on a woman, you're saying that the future, that this future that does not exist will happen. But the future does not exist, so anything can happen. So for the reason women don't follow your expectations without correction or constant and cajoling, not always constant, is the future does not exist to them, by and large. Now, it's not, again, we're speaking in generalizations here, but because anything could happen for the woman, it's not about active dissent in most cases. I would phrase it this way: anything could happen, so why should I worry about this expectation? Because something could happen, and then that expectation will be changed. You have something to say there, Nick?
No, just looking at Steve's latest comment.
Oh. She can manifest the future.
True.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that always seems to work out so well for them.
I know, right?
Don't you have a show about that, Elena, with those girls that they need to manifest their boyfriend or something, or husband?
Oh yes, I have a lot. If you watch Anita's series, you will see a lot of that crap. Yeah.
Tacticus, you actually has I chat's on fire today. Tacticus says, I agree the decline will offer increasing diminishing returns. Many take for granted the benefits of intentional investments of our predecessors sacrificed for. It's sad. There is so much truth in here. The embrace the decliners will find increasingly diminishing returns. And, we've been working on some stuff in the back end, and you guys have even heard some of it on the resurgence. But the decline is accelerating. And as a trader, I can tell you that when we call that a capitulation event, and capitulation events often occur at tops and bottoms. They occur when things turn around. So things are increasing, and the returns on the strategies that have worked for decades now are going to diminish. It will take new ways of dealing with things. And I don't know, maybe, just maybe, by doing what we do, we can convince people that it needs to be a little more expectation driven, a little more masculine future. So that was a great comment, Tacticus. Increasingly diminishing returns on this short-term decliner doomerism. So, man, we've burned 20 minutes already just talking about the concept of an expectation being placed on a woman. How sad is society that we have to do that?
Well, and the problem is,
are there realistic and unrealistic expectations?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And by what standard are they realistic or unrealistic?
Oh, well, for that, actually, Steve, who, yes, he's on vacation, but he still needs to show up in the comments. He actually hinted at that. So if you can manifest the future, is not manifesting the future an expectation of the future?
Yeah,
yes,
but it is delusional expectation.
Oh, so what was the language that Nick was using there, Elena?
Realistic and unrealistic.
Unrealistic. They are unrealistic. Delusional means unrealistic.
Correct. So delusional, unrealistic expectations of the future. But what does this also mean that she probably has? If she can manifest the future, she can manifest everything, anything. So certainly she can manifest her future husband, right?
In her mind only, yes.
Her boyfriend Jesus will give her the perfect husband.
Another stream we did, that was about 2 weeks ago. Guys, it's almost like we think about this stuff. Yeah, that was it was 4 weeks ago. Yeah, the holidays kind of messed up our schedule a bit. Yeah, that was 4 weeks ago. If you go look back in the Resurgence's back catalog, we talked about Jesus is my boyfriend. Some of those girls are so delusional that they make Jesus their literal boyfriend, even though he doesn't physically exist.
Does?
I mean, physically exist where they can touch him and
right. Okay.
Like they can't they can't consummate a relationship.
Okay, I'm going to predict their future, guys. When we finally come up with the AI robots, they will call those robots their Jesus, and
they don't need that. They already got robots for something else. So,
well, true.
Women are fine.
They could call them Jesus.
No,
I mean, come on.
They probably won't. I mean, the sacrilege of doing so is immense.
It'll be fun to watch if they do it. I won't be surprised. Will
it be fun to watch, or will it be? Yeah, I was gonna say this sounds like Send the Meteor to me.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
So, okay, so I think we might have set the table enough on expectations. You have some videos you
Yes,
wanted
I
to show.
do. Yes, I want to show you a couple of videos. So we have one girl.
Well, you're not sharing anything right now, so
Okay. Well, okay. Let me start with the girl because she got a lot of comments here. Okay, 1 second. Mhm. Okay, you can see, right?
Yep.
Let me just restart the page and unmute it.
If I wanted to date you, would I have to have a car?
Absolutely not. I've dated a guy with no car. I drove him around.
What was that like?
It was fine because I loved him.
And how long was that relationship?
About a year and a half on and off.
So you didn't feel like you were being the man in the relationship, having to pick him up and drop him off?
A little bit, but I know that it was at a good cost because I loved him.
So love is what kept you pushing through?
Love is companionship. Love is trusting. Love is something that keeps you going and makes you work for something even though you don't want to because you really care about that person.
Did you end up filling up your gas tank the most, or did he fill it up for you?
He paid me sometimes, but
Sometimes.
when he couldn't, I did because I loved him. Money doesn't matter to me. I grew up poor, so money's nothing to me. A good person,
Something mattered to her.
the money they
I
make,
know, right?
the house they live in, the car they drive. A good person is a good
I
person.
think he compensated in other
I'm
ways.
21.
If I
think
wanted
he
to date you, would I have to have a car?
1 second. Okay, here you go. I was on the wrong screen, guys. Sorry. Yeah, what do you think about this? Nick was saying something.
I think so she's young, so she doesn't have the whole. She's living in the here and now. She's not thinking about money so much. She wants to party, and I think this guy met her expectations, and he's probably somewhat charming, even though he didn't have a car. Probably didn't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out of. Probably didn't make much money at all, but I bet he got her long, hard, and well.
There's always something else, isn't there? There's always something.
Yeah, that would be my my understanding of the situation.
And they aren't clearly still not together. They're not together anymore. So there was something there. Now, it doesn't have to be money in specific that she was unhappy with. There's lots of different reasons why. In fact, there's an infinite array of reasons why women will leave a man. So
Yeah, well, I asked here in the comments, why did she break up with this good person that she loved?
With this generation, that's not even really the right question anymore.
Question to ask. Okay, what would be the right question?
Well, see, this generation, when you don't have expectations placed on a generation, they're just going to look at it and they're going to go, "Oh, well, we just grew apart." Have you ever heard that one before? Because there's an infinite array of reasons to break up, I'm sure one of them was used.
Stars aligned only for a time.
Yeah. So, and this actually gets back to, but this gets back to the concept of expectations. There is no expectation for. Okay, I gotta pull this one up. Irreconcilable expectations.
Irreconcilable.
Yeah, that's actually Tacticus where we're going today. In this particular case, she very likely just, somebody in the relationship just said, "Oh, well, I wanted to go, a different direction.
Uh-huh.
In her case, probably found some new dick. I mean, this is Nightlife Miami here, if I recall correctly, on this channel.
That's the whole sisterhood behind it. If she's around a lot of women, oh, he's cute, but after a while, like you're still driving him around. He doesn't have a car. She's getting older.
So the sisterhood has expectations too, Nick, huh? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Who do you think's whispering in her ear?
Oh.
Huh.
Well,
I mean,
they
I
have
can't say that for sure in this,
they
but
have,
that's a general thing that you find.
they have delusional expectations.
Well,
that they
okay.
have.
If they don't have to be whispering in her ear specifically, but do you know what's constantly whispering in our ears? Instagram, TikTok. Well, maybe after Sunday, TikTok won't be whispering in our ears anymore. But Facebook. Although
They'll
she's
find another way.
Oh,
They'll find another way.
Oh, they already have, but that's for a different story. So you've got YouTube, Twitter, even.
Mm-hmm.
I will call it Twitter till the day I die, guys. It's just I was born and raised that way. So expectations come from. So okay, Steve talked about how women manifest the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, where do all these expectations come from? She's not pulling these out of her ass. All the we in the Red Pill we talk about the 437 bullet point checklist of things that the guy has to have. Where does that checklist come from?
Other women.
Yeah, and currently the primary transmission mechanism for that checklist is social media. She won't be accountable, so blames him. Therefore, she is justified in finding a better man. Mm-hmm. Right. Doesn't fit the checklist, so it's his, and remember, guys, it's his fault that he doesn't meet the checklist. It's not her fault that the checklist is insane. No, the checklist is what the hive mind of women have agreed constitutes a worthy man. Do you want to read that, Nick?
Alice Tacticus got this he kind of got where I was going. So women, the sisterhood is not always about long term, but they tend to have that long term thinking, but they actually end up destroying long-term relationships. Anyways, he says, so Nick, you're saying she has short-term expectations in the moment, but the sisterhood is the long-term hypergamy expectation forecasting mechanism. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it works. I think it's terrible, but yeah.
Well, and the results speak for themselves.
Right.
If the sisterhood was successfully finding all these worthy men with their long checklists, then we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have to wade through endless Instagram and TikTok posts about how they can't find the man that they're entitled to.
Well, there might be a few women who are lucky, who just have genetics, who have been picked up by these worthy men that all women want, but there are so few of them. And then what do they say? They say, oh, ladies, you are all worthy. You all deserve what I have. You are perfect the way you are, in any body, shape, or form, no matter what you do.
I mean,
even the few
you can
women
say
who are like, even the few women who got the man that women want, right? What do they do? What kind of message are they sending? Is it like, okay, ladies, it's like, if you want to get this kind of man, you need to work. It's not free.
The guy what happens when the guy starts having expectations too?
Mm-hmm.
He's not worthy anymore. He's a
You're right.
Well, one of the 437 bullet point check on the checklist, or the bullet points, is thou shalt not have any expectations of me.
Well, so he must be a slave, okay? He must be a slave, except for we know how women treat slaves. How do women treat simps? They leave them. Or these effeminate men who don't have any expectations on women. Women abuse their power. They use sex as a mechanism against men, and then the law system and everything against men, and they crush this man.
Yes, but the what's going on there is it's fascinating. So we've talked about this concept of, respect, and
Yeah.
men can only love, or women can only love men they respect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a slave that means then, so if the man that you respect is a strong, powerful, alpha leader, dominant masculine presence, use that term,
Mm-hmm.
then what is a slave? Well, the slave is the exact opposite of that man. They are powerless.
That's what the church is making.
Yes, they are powerless.
Oh, we want strong family homes, but we're creating simps and emasculating men when they start exemplifying masculine traits.
Well, I'll just say it. The church is trying to make slaves for women.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that 437 bullet point checklist, you can look at it one of two ways. You can say, okay, these are women's expectations, or you can go the red pill route and say that list, it's a shit test. And Nick, to your point, the church has collectively failed the shit test.
Oh yeah. Yes, honey, whatever you say. Yes, dear. Yeah, men need to do this. Yes, dear.
So,
the pastor dared make an application to these saintly angelic women. Let's kick him out.
yeah. So the church got rid of all of the strong, rational, masculine men who could pass on their knowledge to the younger men, and then who goes to church? It's mostly, well, there are a few older guys there, right? But they're desperately trying to get the younger guys joining the church so they can wife up these 3 or 4s, right? Reformed women, transformed virgins, sexual
Single mommies.
yes,
Single mommies,
second
yeah.
virginity, yeah.
But
Mhm.
they can, but in the modern church, they can be a single mommy and still be a secondary virgin.
Yeah, right. How does this work? How does this even
Well, when you can manifest the future,
I know, right?
anything can happen. Steve, I know you're on vacation, but that was a great little setup you gave for us there. When you can manifest the future, anything can happen.
No, because it's home math, right? Like, hey, so 1% of the men fit my criteria. So you're telling me I have a shot.
Exactly. and when all the other men don't fit that criteria, and the 1% of men that you do want reject you, what? So we're talking about expectations in relationships. What happens when
I have to sorry.
Okay, I saw that. Oh man.
Oh gosh, it's good.
Okay. Comment of the stream right there. Okay.
I know, right?
Comment of the stream.
Oh my God.
That's okay. That's how we're gonna say it from now on. It's not they're manifesting their virginity.
I'm writing it down.
There, I've even starred that one for us because we'll probably come back to that one.
Yep.
So when you have all these expectations and they don't get met because they were delusional, and you've been told your whole life that men are the problem, what are you as a woman going to think, say, and do?
Blame man.
Yeah.
This is what Steve mentioned. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Steve left us his comments. You know, you're gonna blame.
Ahead of time. He knows
Yeah.
what.
He knows where we're going.
Been around. He's been around the space a long time.
Yeah.
Old man wisdom still giving us wisdom from afar.
I don't
Yeah.
think he can help himself. So they start to blame, and then they start to invade spaces like the church, and they start to use these institutions to try to get men to fit their 437 bullet point checklist.
Well, I remember Rollo made a post. It was a public post a while ago. He said that women invaded the red pill, or he phrased it, women invaded the manosphere. And if you look at the type of content we see, you know, I 100% agree. They invaded and they try to flip it, you know, they try to sanitize it, they try to change it. And it's not
I think the most
not the same red
some
pill
do.
anymore.
Some do. I think the most successful ones are the pygmies.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Now, that said, and I'll say this, we've talked about it before, obliquely, but particularly in the run up to the election, there was a mass invasion of women into the manosphere.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, it became okay for women to speak in this space, but all of their speaking was done from this. It was done in the same way that it was done in the church. And it was, so the formula is, well, I agree with what you're saying, but it's tone policing, but I don't like how you're saying it. And so you could get more women if you just toned it down a little bit, or made your channel a little more, you know, a little more acceptable and or inviting, you know, to women. You know, you just invite some women on, listen to their opinions. Oh God! Particularly summer of last year, I was listening to all of this going on, and I just wanted to vomit.
Mhm.
Because it's the same thing that was done to the church decades ago, and is still ongoing. You know, anywhere men go to find the counsel of other men, women invade.
Yes.
Yes. No male spaces.
And I say that with my wife being in this space on the screen right now. However,
Oh, I 100% agree with you, because even when I started watching red pill content back like 5 or 6 years ago now, it was totally different red pill than now. And look, I'm a relatively new here by no stretch of imagination. I claim myself an expert in this field. I'm still learning from you guys, and I'm talking to smart guys. But it definitely shifted. It definitely changed. And the message, even like how even red pill guys presented, it changed too.
Okay. The point that I'm trying to make here is that yes, you're here, but you're always here with other guys, and the guys are constantly checking you. No, that's not, no, that's not right. Here's what this actually is, right? Most women who come into a space with the mission of trying to change it, and you saw a lot of this last year, particularly, they come in and they try and tone police. Well, what the women are trying to do is they're trying to redirect this space to meet female expectations of relationships.
Yeah.
They want.
No.
Yeah, I think we know where Nick is on this.
Yeah. I agree with Nick 100%, because I don't like how the message has shifted in the red pill from when she loses respect for you. And I know I've read it in Rollo's books. I've seen it. Red pill guys used to say this. It's time to find a good lawyer. It's time to say goodbye to her and leave her, because there is no way to get her back. And now I see guys are changing, based on what women tell them. Women say, well,
hey. I know.
Look,
You're about to go somewhere that I can't let you go.
That's okay, but it just it's so frustrating that we used to have this space where that was helping men to get strong and approach relationships from rational standpoint, placing healthy standards, boundaries, so that women
This
would have more
is
respect for men.
but this is normal because go ahead, Nick.
like you can't blame a guy who's an LTR or married to say, okay, something went wrong. Here, I'm gonna get in the gym. Here, I'm gonna do some dread, do certain things that are some might I'd say morally go too far, some are valid. Just to perhaps it's just a slight disrespect. I mean, it depending on how far gone it is. I mean, you can't blame a man for trying. And yeah,
Right.
chances are it's better. It's probably not going to work out.
Well, there's a tipping
the men
point.
discover the tools along the way to figure that out in the
Right. So everyone knows I'm married to Elena, been married for a large number of years now. Okay. There were things that she's done in the past where it's like there were some red pill men would say, "Oh, well, you should just drop her because she didn't listen to what you said to do." Well, I could have, but it didn't actually rise to the level of things that, she didn't cheat. She's not abusing drugs or anything like that, right? She just got out of pocket pretty bad, and I had to come in and I had to squish that shit and make it go away. Okay. Well, and for each guy, that level of where they decide that they're going to say, okay, no, now is the time to get out to call the lawyers. It's going to live in different places. There are some guys who they've just been burned so bad, they're going to pull the trigger the moment they see something. It's almost like a PTSD response.
Yeah.
And for them, I'm just going to say, you know what, dude, you I don't necessarily agree with you on that, but I can't tell you not to. But it's, and I think that's what Nick's trying to get at is that there is there's a spectrum of behavior amongst women, and when it comes to male expectations, and guys, you kind of have to set your boundaries about what is considered acceptable and what isn't. Because here's the thing: blowing up a relationship on a moment's notice because she did something she doesn't like, that's also weak man shit. Because what you're really signaling is my expectations are so high. My expectations are at feminine levels of delusion as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's kind of what I would say for the men is this, and I think that's what Nick, what you're trying to say too, is you can go a little too far with this.
So true. Yeah.
So have you lost total respect, or is the boundaries being tested here and there?
Yeah. And
I mean, where is the point of no return?
Well, what if she refuses?
That out for himself.
What if she refuses to have sex? What if she doesn't want to spend time with a man?
Go to the gym.
There's things you can do first. Steve, in the comments again, the trigger for a man should be if she regularly shows contempt for him. I think this is a great standard. And Elena wasn't showing contempt for me. She was just getting out of pocket, shit testing the boundaries, trying to figure out where they were. Okay. As a man, that you're just going to have to deal with in a relationship. Guess what? It is what it is. But she wasn't showing contempt. And so I dealt with it without calling a lawyer. So yes, in the red pill, we do say, okay, you should just go call a lawyer. What we mean is when she starts showing contempt for you or the relationship, and cheating is very definitely showing contempt for the relationship. If she's cheating, in my view, if she's cheating, that's an automatic call to the lawyer. There's no hope.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Yeah, exactly. It's done and it's been over for a while.
Yep.
So
Do you
So
have more videos?
what would you consider cheating? I'll ask you this question and then we will move on to the next one. Okay.
Nick, you should take that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's the actual act of adultery, where you have sexual relations with another person. That's adultery. Some people just say it's purely the act. No, it's actual. You've undressed the other person, you've touched them, you violated. Yeah, that's adultery. That's grounds for termination. If she, there's some gray area. I would still consider it adultery if she had already planned to go through with it, but didn't. But was caught before she could carry it out. That's
Okay.
still. I'd still say get out.
So okay, so there's
so
other
cheating. That's
cases.
still cheating.
Okay.
And there's emotional and really,
Like emotional is also cheating.
So
Mhm.
maybe they haven't had sex yet, but they are kissing and doing that.
yeah, that's still cheating. That's
Okay, yeah, okay.
That's betrayal. That's still a betrayal. And you can't go back. I mean, she whored herself already. She already went to another man. So out. And I know my church people are going to get mad at me, but no,
But
that is
Nick,
betrayal of the marriage. That's an absolute betrayal of the marital covenant.
Nick, you
And
don't
how do you know
understand.
it didn't
Kissing
already
doesn't
go that
count.
far? How do you know it hasn't gone further?
Well, you
already?
don't at that point. Like in practice, you don't. Look, people are going to hide their cheating because
She already has adultery, like
on the mind.
the betrayer of adultery in her heart. All you caught was the kissing.
Right.
And you think they're going to tell you the truth at that point?
Of course not.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't.
So what would you say? Dylan, go on. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't know.
So and here's the thing: when we get into the gray area of emotional cheating, what I would say is it's damnably hard to prove without some sort of physical manifestation of it. Like you have to catch them, having dinner and wine together, and she's staring intently into his eyes, right? And she'll tell you, but I didn't do anything with the guy. Yeah, I have a picture here of you drool coming out of your mouth. Okay, and so what I would say to guys in that situation is start planning your exit.
Yeah,
because
she's already laid it up in her heart.
Yeah,
she's already betrayed you in her heart already.
So yes, you don't have the physical evidence, but at this point, you've actually you've been given the gift of time. Take it and start preparing. Because one day something, she's going to drop something on you, and you're instead of being, oh, I had no idea, you're going to be like, yeah, I knew this was coming. Here's how this is going to work. Don't tell her that you've been preparing, how you've been preparing. Just say, yeah, this is coming. I saw this coming. Here's what we're going to do. And she's going to lose her shit because part of the reason she betrayed is because she had this expectation that you were this weak man who was going to roll over and give her what she wanted out of the relationship. And when you don't roll over, she's going to lose it because people do not react well to expectation violations.
You want a brutal self-confession time? So guys, I was plugged in beta sip. Yeah, I was masculine, but I was a dumb idiot. I had the church's complementarian messaging. Okay, I married a woman. I'm divorced now. within like the first few months, I found, I've said this before, the sexting while we were engaged, right?
Jesus.
Where went into graphic detail of what they were going to do to each other, what they were doing while watching things while we were engaged. I found it a few months down the road while I got married. I had been married. Called the pastor. He said, "Oh, you just need to forgive her and trust her." And oh, but I never really did anything. I was just messing with their heads. That's what she said. I'm like,
Huh? What?
I don't know why. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just, I was just trying to mess with them. Like it was fun for me just to mess with them.
Bullshit.
Who's the idiot who believe that?
Guys, this is what the church does. This is how the church messes with your head, to think that a woman sexting another guy and she says, "Oh, I was just messing with him." Yeah, you're right. You were messing with him. You wanted to go fondle his balls.
Yeah. So imagine 11 years of living with that somebody that's like, here's reality that you should know, but then they convince you reality is this whole thing over here.
Gaslighting is the term for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
11 years of gaslighting. That's
Yeah.
dude. Dude.
It
Well,
happens, guys. Former pastor Nick. Yep, that was me.
it's better that you realize it and recognize it for what it is sooner rather than later. Some men will never, they might see the signs, but they may never execute upon them. They will ignore the signs.
Well,
Oh yeah.
that's what church simp conditioning is intended to do. That's the purpose of it, is to get you to. I mean, the pastor literally said it. The pastor literally said, "Oh, well, you just need to forgive it." Wait, what?
Mhm.
Nowhere in the Bible does it say that I have to forgive a whore.
You
who
can
is
forgive,
cheap.
but that does not mean you have to remain. That
Yeah,
there's no
well, yeah, right.
consequences and that there's
Right.
yeah.
The Bible doesn't say I have to keep the whore.
Forgive, but yeah,
I don't have to keep it.
say goodbye to her. Yeah.
And with my ex, that's kind of how I dealt with it. Okay, yeah, fine. Now I did have a little time to at least mentally prepare, and she still was shocked that I filed first. Fortunately, we didn't have all that much because we weren't married that long. Thank God. Nick, dude, I feel for you. 11 years, dude. Oh man.
And 7 kids. It's like once you have kids,
Yeah, I didn't have kids either.
it's very, very nasty.
I
So
was very plugged into the church propaganda. But when you start reading you actually start reading the actual sources and the material, the church fathers, reformers. You start reading this stuff, it's like, man, some things just aren't adding up from what I've been taught. But this is what the church is historically taught, and this is what the scripture obviously means. Huh. Then you start teaching that as a pastor because you took a vow to speak the truth. Man, all this opposition keeps coming up everywhere, and I'm just this mean patriarchal man, blah blah blah.
well,
And I was still, I was not even red pilled yet. I was just saying, no, this is what traditional masculinity is in the church. But I didn't really understand completely the nature of women, particularly how modern women act, and the wool that's been pulled over everybody's eyes. That's
and
usually the suppository.
the church has been co-opted pretty thoroughly at this point, which is in part why I think they came for the manosphere last year. Again, talking about the expectations, the women they want men to come to them ready-made. So what they desperately want is for whatever institution the men are subscribed to They could subscribe to the church, and they did for a long time. Men subscribed to the church. You know, in the 1950s, you know, the church, you know, go to church on Sundays, make sure, you know, you're dressed you know, all of that, you know, that 1950s idyllic lifestyle thing that we have in our heads. And what's the first thing that I'm going to use your term here, Nick, the egalitarian levelers come for? They come for that because the church does place expectations on men. Well, guess what the manosphere also does? We place expectations on men.
Yeah.
We say, look, guys, you have to do this. You got to go take care of your physical fitness. You've got to take care of your mental fitness. You've got to learn this stuff. These are all expectations.
We also teach no more Mr. Nice Guys from the early works and others. Not only taught us to have our own expectations for ourselves, right? Expectations for ourselves, but to have you know, boundaries and expectations to be met in the other, and to be able to not be manipulative and all this other stuff. Just to say, to reinforce those expectations and boundaries, and then pull the plug sometimes, or do whatever you need to do in that relationship.
It's just so absurd. Women come to these spheres where expectations are being placed on men, and they try to remove all of the expectations placed on women.
No, not remove. No. Okay, so what they're not coming to the men's space to try and remove expectations on women. They're coming to the men's space to try to change the expectations that we place on men to match what women want. You see, from the female standpoint, it is far better if somebody else makes the perfect man for me. That was the great draw of the church, was that the church would impose these rules and expectations on men, and that those expectations would be what the woman wants. See what I'm saying is it's not about, I mean, yes, there's an aspect of trying to remove expectations on women, but it's not really about that. That's just one thing that's going to happen as a result of trying to make men fit that.
It's about making a perfect man that delusional women want.
Correct.
Or like these promiscuous women who come into men's fields, and then, oh, okay, well, man, you should do this and that.
Yeah,
Don't you think that these expectations are too high?
Tacticus got it here. Okay, women are not direct creatures. Women seek to condition and indirectly influence. Now, Tacticus, you say for plausible deniability. That's true, but also, just in general, females, they are, when you are in the position, think back to your Sun Tzu, when you are in the position of the weaker power, you can't use direct overt power. You have to use influence, and you have to use subversion. I think subversion is a word that we don't use often enough. Women subvert. Women have subverted the church. Women are trying to subvert the red pill. Why? So that they can create the men that their feminist desires and their feminist, the feminist longhouse, I'll use that term.
Yeah.
Right. So that the feminist longhouse can create the perfect man per the definition, not of the individual woman, but of that feminist longhouse. Women are the hive mind. For a woman,
they're not on team her man. They're on
exactly.
team woman, as Steve would say.
They're on team woman. And the longhouse is where they get together and discuss the goals, tactics, and strategies of team woman. that longhouse right now just happens to take place in social media for everyone to see. And then we get to laugh at it on our YouTube channels as men. But make no mistake, the red pill is absolutely in the process of being subverted.
Subverted.
Look here, I agree 100% with Tacticus. They seek to manipulate men into thinking it was our idea.
Absolutely.
Seeing the desired outcomes.
Tacticus, chef's kiss. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's on his A game in the comments today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you have any other videos for us?
Yes.
Yes, I do. It was our idea. I'm writing it down so that I have this comment. Maybe I will use it in my article. And I'll give you credit, Tacticus, okay? Okay, seeing the desired outcomes. Perfect. Okay, yeah, let's watch another one. This one is by Orion Taraban from Psych Hacks. I actually like his content, but here, I'm not sure, guys. So let's watch it and you tell me what you think, okay? And it's just a clip from a bigger, longer video that you could watch on his YouTube channel. So let's see. Let me refresh it. Oops.
Spoken to were uninterested in getting married and having children in their 20s. However, when their priorities shifted in their 30s, they often didn't appreciate how much more difficult it would be to secure the same offer that they once received. At this stage of the game, most women can't simply sit back and wait for their meet cute. And the men who do show interest are much more likely to entertain a casual relationship than a long-term commitment. So what's to be done? In so many words, these women need to get better at sales. Too often in the sexual marketplace, women lead with what they want, which, if the woman is attractive enough, is a decent strategy. Like, men will line up to give beautiful women what they want if they believe it will improve their chances of securing a sexual opportunity. The issue is that most women are not attractive enough to do this, but their girlfriends and their society at large insist that they are. This is not true. Many of the women I've spoken to were uninterested in getting married and having children in their 20s. However, when their priorities shifted in their 30s, they often didn't appreciate how much more difficult it would be to secure the same offer that they once received.
Okay, guys, sorry, I think it might have been a different video. I don't think it's the one where he talks about sales.
Yeah, that's this one.
Is it this one? Sorry, Yeah. Well, what do you think about it?
Oh, this is what the red pill talks about the sexual, how modern women's sexual phases. So you have, their hoe phase from like 23 to 27, 28, somewhere around there. Then they have the epiphany phase. Oh, my biological clock is running out. Oh, my friends are starting to have kids. It lasts until like 30s, and then you have the security phase, like mid 30s, right? Early mid 30s. It could be off.
So like the epiphany is like 28, 29, and so it's like 30 to. It can be like the entire 30s. There's a lot of kids that get born in that range, and then once the kids get older, so it's a fairly wide range. We don't have Rolo's chart to pull up. So for the
they're more fertile at what phase though?
In their 20s,
and they're more attractive. Oh, but they don't lock down a man typically in their 20s anymore, do they? And settle down and have kids.
Yeah, they don't. And but he still says that there is a solution for them. He says that if older women just sell themselves better.
Well, there could. I mean, you said this is a clip from a longer video. It's what? No, he actually hinted at in this clip at what the actual problem is, and when he says when they lead with what they want. Now, Nick, you used to do sales. How well does that work as a sales strategy?
If I'm the salesman and leading with what I want,
Yeah.
not well.
Okay.
Because
So
you're not showing interest in the other person,
mhm.
and you're not engaging with the other person. You're not fact finding. I mean, you could be, I guess, successful if you're still charismatic and dominant enough as a man, and the woman buy from you just because you're exemplifying that. But yeah, if it's another man, it definitely won't work.
Okay, but that kind of goes with what he said. That kind of goes with what he said about if she's attractive enough, leading with what she wants might work. If if the guys decide, oh well, if I give her what she wants, she'll pick me. So getting better at sales might be sloppy language here, because what he's really trying to get at is this idea that these women's expectations are horrifically miscalculated to their actual value.
Yes.
And that's why I asked Nick, would this work as a sales strategy? And the answer is, well, of course not. Because your expectations are all out of whack with what you can achieve. So I think he's actually right here, and I see your comment up there, and you might have to go edit that.
Okay.
But it is, he's right. Maybe the language is a little sloppy, but the women, and maybe it's not really about the women need to get better at sales per se, but they need to understand that. Actually, I'll phrase it this way. They need to get better at understanding that they are in a sales game at all. So,
Hey, they're shiny and nice and brand new in their 20s, but man, you put some mileage on that thing. Paint begins to,
But like, how
to
much
wear.
sales can they make? Okay, guys, I have another question for you here. How much sales can they make if the product really sucks? So, for example, as women age, they lose fertility, they lose their attractiveness. It's just objective fact, right? And then, like, no matter how much lipstick they put on, no matter what they do, it's just not going to be the same. So,
it's not.
It's
not. Okay. Calm down. So if I'm trying to, well, we're using cars, we're using car analogies, so I'll keep going with that. Let's say I have a beat up old 2012 Corolla. Okay. Got a lot of miles on it, but it's a Toyota. And you know what? The darn thing, it keeps turning on, it keeps driving, it keeps getting me somewhere. Well, I mean, I like Toyotas personally. Reliable as as an old watch, but I'm still not going to pay a new car premium for it. That 2012 Corolla is probably what, a $7,000 car on today's market. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to lower my expectations of what I'm going to be able to sell it for. And the buyer has an expectation too. You see how I phrased that? I phrased that as, oh, well, this car I value at $5,000 to $7,000. Okay. So now if the car is somewhere between $5,000 to $7,000 and I have valued those cars in that range, the buyer and the seller can come together to an agreement and say, I will buy your car for $6,000. And then you hand that person $6,000 and they hand you a title. Oh, look, we just did it. Okay. The sales process can still happen here, but it can only happen when somebody's expectations aren't fucking delulu. They aren't out to lunch. If the seller of this fictional 2012 Corolla comes in and says, no, I need to get that car sold for probably $20,000. So if they come and say, no, I need to get $18,000, I need to get $20,000, I'm going to look at them and go, you're fucking nuts. Goodbye.
Well, it's like the girls. It's like on these shows, right? They expect a man to be the 1%. They're going to get the 1% man while they all still think they're tens, and they're actual like,
Exactly.
not
So
anywhere near that.
when a woman is saying, well, I'm a 10, everyone, and this is something that I've been a little annoyed with, everyone's treating that as if she's, delusional about herself. But then you sit down and you actually pin them down, and I've watched Andrew do this on whatever. You pin them down and you just keep, you don't let them get away with it. Eventually they'll admit that they're not a 10, because, and Nick, you probably know this trick, they're anchoring. Okay. They think that if they can convince you that they are a 10, they can ask for 10 prices. These women are actually aware that they're not 10s. But if they ever once admit that they're not a 10 publicly, anywhere, particularly on social media, it's why they fight so hard on these big podcasts, particularly to admit that they're not 10s. Because if they admit that, then all those guys will see that they're not 10s. And all those guys, now she's going to have to sit in the club, and all these guys who are, in her mind, 1s, 2s, and 3s, just, they're going to think that they have a shot with her if she admits she's not a 10.
Yeah, but it's also women are not
That's
lying
because
in
she
that
thinks she can
regard, that those guys don't have any shot with them, because women are only hyper focused on the top guys. They completely ignore the rest of them.
That's expectation setting.
Mhm.
Yes. They have the delusion that I if I can convince everyone that I'm a 10, I will get that man.
Go back to what Steve said at the beginning. She's going to manifest.
Yeah.
Manifest.
That's what we have just done in grave detail with many rabbit trails where Steve was at the beginning of the show.
Fascinating.
Right? No, it's fun
by
to
the
do
way,
rabbit trails.
And you see this with like Disney and all these other things. They start bringing on these women, their whole DEI thing and everything else, and their weight, the weight classes. I'm talking about. Hey, this is a model. This is a 10. This is the most, and they're. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But they don't give up. They just double down.
They can't give up. They can't.
Oh, Steve also wrote a comment here. Admitting she's not a 10 would hurt her feelings.
Yes, they would.
She can't use analytical thinking.
No, they can't.
Mhm.
It's not just one thing. I'm not saying it is, it's, these women have every reason to not admit that they're not,
this is why I think it's a useless question to ask a woman to rate herself, because they will all say that she's a 10.
No, it's not useless. The purpose of asking the question is not to convince women that they're not 10s. The purpose of asking the question is to demonstrate to everyone watching that female solipsism, that these women are nuts. Now, as I said, I'm not sure that they, I think that they could spend a little more time doing what Andrew does and getting them to admit that they're not actually 10s, because I think it does show that every girl's a 10 is performative. Homath actually does a video on this that's fantastic, but it's really long and we don't have time to watch it here. He goes through like why these women are all saying, why will a woman who's objectively a 10 allow other women who are objectively not to call themselves 10s? Well, the answer is actually very simple. she gets to feel, as what Steve was saying, that she is being inclusive and nice by sharing tenness with these not tens.
They are
But-
egging them on. They are
No, well, but it also allows her, it gives her cover. It gives her social cover, because now she can be a 10, but
Yeah.
she's out there saying, oh, well, but you're a 10 too. And so people won't hate her for being a 10.
Oh, right. Taxicus wrote here, this supports a socially acceptable permission to have delusional expectations, and singles females are too sensitive to handle reality.
Yep.
Feeding the delusion trolls. Yeah.
Yep. When you have delusional expectations, Tacticus, you're right. All you've really said is that you can't handle reality. But by giving it to other people, but by inviting people into your delusion, you get to feel good about yourself in many different ways. You know, you get to feel good about including them. You get to feel good about.
It sounds like.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I had something pop in my head. This is the same thing we see with the whole acceptance of the Transformers.
Correct. Everyone knows they're not.
It's right. But oh yes, we're so inclusive and accepting. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
An XY is a woman and an XX is a man. And that type of delusional reality. Yes.
Yeah, Tacticus, it is subsidizing reality. And it's subsidizing reality with the intent of trying to make something real that is not real in the natural world. We've actually done videos about this before. Long time ago, we did a video with my dad where he talked about the history of why people are trying to, of why this is such a thing right now. And it goes back to the boomer era. Oh, look, boomers causing problems again.
You can just self-manifest it, you know. You
right.
You need to release the goddess within you.
Yes, Steve. Never forget the 11th commandment: "Thou shalt not hurt her feelings." Yeah. So there is an active program amongst an entire generation of people who honestly believe that they can perfect the human mind using technology, specifically. But technology is a broad term here. I don't necessarily mean like computer technology, but using science and human ingenuity to perfect the human mind. That is a whole thing that's going on. We have talked about that at length across multiple videos. We will probably continue to keep talking about that bullshit.
Hey, these women are only doing the observer effect. I mean,
oh no, you oh God,
oh Nick, you stepped into this one.
Are you just trying to throw bombs today? Is that what you're doing over there?
Oh, Nick.
no, Rolla talks about how like the women mystique and manifesting and realizing the goddess within them. You know, the observer effect.
Oh God, there's a whole nother stream in there.
Yeah, you guys need to talk about that.
don't make me pull up Neil deGrasse Tyson on the observer effect. Don't make me do that. Watch, you guys are gonna make me do that.
Well, let's just say, do men do this too?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oh, Nick. Troublemaker.
Yeah.
I'm an equal opportunity troublemaker.
Equal opportunity
The
offender.
offender, right? Yeah, that's what I am. I'll take criticism.
So, okay, so have we done expectations? I don't know if you guys were expecting us to do bullet point lists of, you know, who expects what. That wasn't how I was envisioning this when we were talking about this earlier this week. I do want to say one thing. Everyone listening, particularly our haters, you probably haven't heard us talk about, but what about the women's expectations? Shouldn't women be able to place expectations on men?
Sure.
Good God, man. They place so many expectations on men that it hurts.
It's
Too
never
many
been-
ladies,
they
too
haven't been-
many.
not-
Shrink it down. Shrink it down. Especially the older you become, you know what your expectation list has to go? Like from here, it has to go like this. Okay? Very small. By the time you hit your 40s, you should have pretty much none of the delusional outlines.
No. But if you're a single woman in your 40s, your expectation needs to be, does he fog a mirror?
No, usually their expectations keep getting higher.
I
some reason.
know. They do.
But this is through the indoctrination and all of the crap that they've been brainwashed with, because this is what society tells them and what other women tell them. The older you become, the more valuable you become. No, your value diminishes. And this is why I disagreed with Ryan, where he was saying, like, what's the solution for this older women? There is no solution. There is no solution. You wasted yourself.
No.
I'll say something. This is why, and I'm going to say this, there's going to be a truth, and then there's also going to be a rebuttal to the truth, but that's because the truth has already been subverted. That is why they need fathers to give them proper expectations. But they say, but a lot of these women do have fathers. I'm like, yep. The fathers themselves don't teach them the proper expectations. They've been subverted generationally.
Yeah.
Right.
So there you go.
Go back and watch our video on girl math where we talk about this.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I'm saying that women who are old now and who have out to lunch delusional expectations, they just wasted, because they didn't have the father who would set, who would teach them, who would tell them no, right? Who would hold them accountable and set some boundaries and expectations on them. He wouldn't teach them that they need to provide value in order to get something. They actually need to bring something objectively good for the man, right? No, they're completely delusional. And what do they do? Instead of
calm.
let me finish, darling. Let me finish the sentence.
Oh, really?
Decreasing their standards, they
oh, I just did something. that I'm going to hear about later. Yeah, I'm going to hear about that later. No. You have already said everything you need to say. You were just a runaway train there. The Joker has talked about this at length via one of his favorite examples, and that's Yana Hawking. And he keeps bringing her up because her expectations keep getting bigger. The sum total of the sales problem for women is their list of expectations. That's it. It's not to say that a woman who's at 45 can't find a guy. She can. Okay? She is not going to get a millionaire.
It's not going to be the guy that she probably wants.
That's the...
But she has to realize that she is not that beautiful, attractive, and fertile anymore.
Well, what is happening in society right now, where they can't get those guys. That's the consequence of them not paying attention. You can't fix that. Don't bother trying.
Yeah,
just let it happen. Okay. What Orion Taraban is trying to do is the same thing that we all in the red pill have done at various stages and will continue to do, is to look at the women and go, yeah, that ain't going to happen. here is what you actually have to do. Lower your expectations. Figure out that you're going to have to sell yourself. You know, we hate to use the term sell yourself in reference to women because that's that prostitution. But you know what? That's kind of what women do.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, so just you can leave it there.
Well, there is this idea that the more you, and I think you guys have covered it, talking
Exactly,
about
we did.
Well, not just that, but where does the concept of price comes from when you are pricing a product? If you don't charge people enough, they think that your product is shit, right? If you charge them too much, nobody's going to buy it. And at the same time, you can't sell yourself for too cheap. And this
Well,
is I think what they are trying to do here. That they are like,
I'm gonna go back to the 2012 Corolla,
Mhm.
2012 Toyota. Okay, if somebody tries to sell me that same car for $2,000, the very first question that pops to my mind is, what the hell's wrong with the car? Okay, Nick, am I wrong? Yeah.
It's probably salvage title or something. That'd be my guess.
Salvage title. 2012 Corollas were famous for having engine sludging issues, so it might need a rebuild. You know, there could be a very serious problem with it. Now, all of this, the reason I'm using the car example is because it's not humans. It allows us to think rationally about the sales problem without getting our emotions and then turning into a runaway train like a certain Elena over there, getting into the emotions. That's why I use the yeah. I'm going to hear all about this at lunch today. But the reason I bring that up is because yes, pricing is a signal, but it's a signal that works both ways. Okay. When I set my price, yes, I'm sending a signal. But that signal can be I'm delusional. It can range from I'm completely delusional trying to get $20,000 for, you know, a car that's 13 years old, or I'm sending a signal that something is very wrong with this car. Okay. You know, if I take a $6,000 car and try and sell it for $2,000, I'm sending a signal that something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And women are aware of this, and they are trying to set the conditions of the debate such that they can get $20,000 for their 13-year-old car. And what's happening is men are kind of like, you know what? We don't buy this shit anymore. And so then you get the Yana Hawkings of the world who think that, oh, all I have to do, they do this sort of, you know those grifter guys, you know, they're the big, you know, loud personality, you know, they teach, you know, how to sell. I see it in real estate all the time. They get up there and they're teaching these oceans of women how to sell houses, and you know, it's always about, you know, high pressure sales tactics, and they're going to teach you how to sell yourself. There's a whole lot of good advice in there, and there's a whole lot of advice that people don't understand. So yes, when you say, oh, pricing is a signal, so that's true. But it isn't always the signal you think it is. It's not as simple as saying, well, I'm going to set my price at $20,000 because that's what I think I'm worth. These women aren't thinking broader. They can't think outside of themselves. And so they're not seeing that, oh, the other person is going to understand that I'm being completely out to lunch delusional and just ignore me or use me for sex and kick me to the curb.
Well, and remember, they've been told their entire life that their sexuality is evergreen, that all women are beautiful and pretty at any age. So there is no
exactly. There's
of awareness that as
correct.
she ages, she loses all of that.
Right. Here, okay, we got a couple of, so Steve. Well, actually, let's see here.
Oh, I brought up Steve's.
Steve, okay, we'll do Steve first. Then Tactics has a stream in here we'll get to. A 40-year-old woman is not able to get an equal age man for an LTR. This is true. She needs to accept 10 years older. As she ages, the differential must increase. This is all true. This is just old man Steve speaking wisdom. Now, the women aren't going to listen to this, and the feminist lies and programming is all real. And the reason that the feminist programming works so well is everyone wants to believe those things. They want to believe it. It's why it works so well as a sales tactic. Okay, so here's another great comment that I wanted to get to from Tacticus. They are not even happy with the state husband, and it's still not enough. This goes back to what I was trying to say earlier. To some extent, it doesn't matter what the woman's expectations are. It's never going to be enough. And as her looks fade, she's going to try and convince you that your expectations should be about her non-looks attributes. Her money, her influence, her...
Okay, guys, then I have another question. If women say that money plays into effect, why don't they contribute what they've earned throughout their life into their long-term security? Meaning, why don't they come up with some dowry? And this is what I'd like to talk about with Shah. This is Shah, our friend. It would make total sense. No, they still expect, they still have the same 20-year-old expectations when they are in their 40s. They still expect a man to pay when their money is just their money. Okay, lady, you made your career, right? You've become this strong, powerful, independent.
Yeah, okay. Why do they do that? Well, that's pretty easy to answer. Because it was never about the money. They're just trying to say, well, you should value me for that because you value, or because I value you for that more now. Remember,
well, okay. Then what men could do is like, okay, take it and say, how much of your money are you willing to contribute?
Yeah, Kevin Samuels used to do that back in the day. He had a whole formula for it. Like that's not new.
Oh, I know it's not new. It's just if women say that their value comprises of other things than their looks as they age, come on, ladies, contribute something. Because you are running out of options. You can't demand the same things that you could back when you were young.
Hang on. Tacticus, again. Selling lemon vehicles only works on ignorant, naive buyers and needs I'm going to insert constant supply of new buyers. He's actually given you the answer here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. This is the reason why they invade men's spaces, the reason why they subverted the church, the reason why they're trying to tell you that their money is now the most important thing. These non-physical attributes are now the most important thing. Is their sales tactics only work on ignorant, naive buyers. And if you believe, they don't believe what they're saying about the money. That's why they don't contribute to the relationship. This is not about them. It's about it's about you. It's about you, the buyer. It's about what they think they can say to convince you, the buyer, to buy.
Steve says, Elena, she doesn't need to bring anything to the table because she is the table. I've heard it so many times. Yes.
Oh, and you're going to keep on hearing it. But I think Tacticus actually, I think he really kind of answered your question for you right there as to why they're doing this. It's not about, they don't ever plan on contributing money. It's an attempt to signal, they're trying to signal non-physical value in the hope that you will assume, in the hope that then the ignorance and the naivety that you believe that they will contribute that money. They don't actually ever intend to, But if they can
Well,
sell
hold
you,
them accountable if they bring it up.
well, that's
Okay,
the
how much
naivete.
how much money are you willing to invest into this relationship? Because at
No.
this point, you are buying a relationship. You are paying for me to commit to you long term. So when you are ugly and fat and right,
Sure.
you have some long term.
But
Security.
you see now, again, that's a sales problem. They're using the wrong tactics. They're trying to do the wrong things because their expectations are wrong.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to say wrong. I mean, we can call it delusional, we can call it whatever we want, but their expectations are just wrong. And we've talked about, I mean, this whole hour and a half that we've been talking, this is what we've been talking about. Their expectations are wrong. And when your expectations are wrong, you're going to, everything you do after that is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
And they don't care that they're wrong. That's probably the hardest thing for guys to accept, is that women don't care that they're wrong. They only care if it works or not.
But then how do they measure also whether it works or not? It's based on how much attention they get.
Sure. Well, yes and no, because it depends on their goals. It depends. If their goal is to just get clout on the internet, okay. But if your goal is to get a man for a long-term relationship, well, that's a very different set. And you're assuming that women actually measure this stuff. They don't. The female solipsism does not allow them to see at all that their expectations are out of whack. That's why you can have an entire whatever episode or an entire Fresh and Fit episode out there where these guys are just hammering them for hours on how their expectations are out of whack, and nothing changes. I actually don't worry too much about female expectations. I don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. You know, I'm not concerned about what they are, because life experience has taught me that it's all irrelevant.
So
Okay,
what is
because they make
relevant?
rules for who and break them for who.
Exactly. A woman can have all the expectations in the world, and when a dominant man shows up, they disappear like so much smoke on the wind.
That's true. That's true.
Do not concern yourself with the expectations of women.
So
Now,
we should be more concerned about how
the
many
expectations of men.
How many men, become more dominant and masculine.
Correct. How did I open this show? I was talking about, we're only ever going to get 10 to 15% of men. I expect 0% of women to follow along.
True. Yeah. Women will do what
women are
men,
going to do whatever. What women are going to do whatever women will do whatever gets them what they want.
Yeah.
It is the men who set the boundaries of getting what they want.
Well, and if men give, because right now attention is the exchange currency for women, they don't actually need a husband, or they don't actually need a man in order to survive in the current environment. I'm not talking about the future, but women don't think about the future, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so right now they don't need a man, so
That's
all
correct.
they need is attention and clout. If they
That's
can
correct.
get those on social media, boosting Instagram or elsewhere, it's enough. For a lot of women, they would say, like, I'm so peaceful. I've seen thousands of videos on that. I'm so peaceful without a man. I'm fine by myself. I love myself. I worship myself, and so on and so forth. All of this feminist crap.
Until the biological clock keeps ticking.
But then they will,
and diminishing returns, and they won't be okay with themselves. They won't get the clout. They won't get the attention.
Then they will go and infuse themselves into the manosphere or other areas where men are, try to tilt these areas to their level, to their expectations.
That's correct. The purpose of subverting the church was to make the church work for women's expectations. Was to make the church to I'm going to use a Bible term, to bind the church to female expectations.
They are trying to do the same thing with the manosphere.
Yes, they are.
And it's frustrating to watch.
Yes, it is. But it was as expected and predictable as it was inevitable. It is, you're sitting here trying to get angry about it, and I'm just going over here going, yep, yep, and thus it ever was, and thus it shall ever be.
Yeah.
Men are fighting against this. We have been since the dawn of time. This is not going away anytime soon. It has currently swung to an extreme, but physics will tell you that for every extreme there is, for every action there is a
equal and opposite reaction.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we are currently at an extreme. We won't stay here, but women are not going to like what it looks, and that's a topic for a whole nother stream, but they're going to wake up one day and they're not going to like the world they're in anymore. And that's when all of the attention seeking behaviors are going to evaporate, because women will change with the wind. They are not, they're not reliable creatures.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, but then coming back to this sales car, okay, well, I'll give them the benefit of doubt. You know that Corolla, what was it, 1912? Or
2012.
From
1912?
Hold on.
Isn't she selling Model A's over here?
How old was that one? 2012?
Model A is like the first mass-produced car ever.
Well, okay, you caught me here. That's a reliable Corolla. The reliable 40-year-old woman who can find a man if she's down to earth, if she has realistic expectations, if she's reliable, right? Not some flaky kind of changing with the wind type of girl.
Okay. Yeah.
How many, like, just statistically, how many of those are you going to encounter?
It'd be less than 5%. What the actual number is, who knows? It's just not going to be very many, because there is no social or biological pressure for there to be. The church certainly isn't putting any pressure on it. Biology is pushing them the other way. I mean, church used to serve as a bulwark against the biological natures of men and women. Oh, Steve in the comments.
There is also the simple motivation of time policing to prevent her from feeling bad.
I think he meant tone policing.
Tone policing, yeah.
Yes, and yes, I agree. And this is just Steve being funny.
Okay, guys, I have a final question for you. Would you consider a woman who exposes herself semi-naked on social media, and she's married, she's wearing very short pants, crop tops, whatever it takes to get more attention, as cheating? If she's married, if she's in a committed relationship with one man, would you consider it cheating?
Plan the exit.
Yeah, she's not at the stage of physical cheating yet. I would say she is. Here's what I would say she's doing. She is advertising. Okay. She doesn't have a specific exit strategy plan. She doesn't have a specific person in mind. She is seeing what's available to her. She's advertising her availability for such a thing.
Yeah, I would say the same. And I've seen so many married women. Like, ladies, come on, be more modest. You are already married.
No. You can say that, but the societal economic pressures are simply not there. So I mean, you can say it, but they won't listen.
No,
I mean,
they won't. Yeah.
I mean, it's great for the guys listening to hear that some woman out there is saying it, but we are not there. We are not in that time yet, and we probably have about.
But it
5
shows
years
you
to go.
also the lack of respect women have for their husbands, for the men that they are with.
Yes, it does. But that's just part of the deal right now. That's just part of the times. And you've got them at least 5 years to go. So
5 years, okay.
At least.
So shall I keep that kind of message going, or it's useless?
I'd say right now it's useless.
Useless.
We are in the capitulation trade right now. It's in a capitulation trade, so the market's capitulating down, right? It just keeps crashing. That's when everyone comes out and says, "Oh, you've got to sell now. You've got to get out. This is the end of everything." Okay? No one's going to be listening to a message to the contrary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's actually why they lose all their money. And in this case, this is why all these women are going to lose. Now, I'm not going to say that there won't be a guy out there for them after all of this, but it will not be the guy that they were promised. The guys that they're going to end up with out of necessity are going to be very, very much not what they were promised when they were younger. They're not going to have the lifestyle outcomes that they were promised. And that's okay. There's an aspect here of we should just let it happen. Just because the other thing about that you hear in trading is don't catch a falling knife.
That's an interesting phrase.
Yeah, don't try to catch a falling knife. And if we're in a falling knife right now situation with culture, which I do believe we are for a whole lot of other reasons, not just this one, although this is a major part of it. Don't try and catch the knife, guys. Stand aside, get out of the way, let the knife, clatter onto the floor. Once the knife has come to a full and complete stop, as they used to say in the airlines, then you can pick it up.
So wait until it completely crashes and collapses.
That's when they'll be listening.
Yeah, that's when they will be desperate also. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got to pull this up. Oh. They'll land with the old bastard, can't say that word, antagonist types. Yeah, Lone Wolf, pretty much. They are not going to like the guys that they end up with, but it's going to be better than actually dying. And this is the problem so when your expectations get so disconnected from reality, eventually reality decides for you what your outcomes are going to be. And so, we're talking about relationship expectations. If your relationships expectations are so far disconnected from reality, eventually reality decides what kind of relationship you're going to get. And for a lot of women, that's no relationship. For some women, that'll be the old bastard, can't say that word, antagonistic relationships. And for the women who had already tempered their expectations, gotten married, locked a guy down before all of this happened, well, those women will be okay. But again, just like with the men, you're not going to save the majority of women. you're not going to save 90%. You're not going to save 90% of them.
Like how many women can you hope to save?
10% at most.
10% at most. And it will be younger women mostly who can already probably see the inconsistencies in.
This is a temperament thing, not an age bracket thing. There's always going to be a percentage of women who look at what the other women are doing and going, y'all know you're nuts, right? And I've talked to women like this, and you have too. We've talked to them online. You know, there are women out there who are saying to the women, y'all know you're nuts, right?
Yeah.
There's just not that many of them. So, I mean, Rachel Wilson, how much of her Twitter time is spent telling other women that they're out to lunch?
No.
Right. Just as an example, right? It's never going to, there is no such thing as a totality in large scale biological systems. There's no such thing as 100% in these. But 90%, 90% of women are going to be screwed. And we should just let that happen.
Yeah. Do you think the government will let this happen?
I think they don't have a choice. Okay, Steve. There's an old expression for men in a college bar. Go ugly early. Oh, Steve. Oh, yeah. That is some old school wisdom right there. Go ugly early. Well, you know, should a guy, I mean, how worth it is it to always be chasing 10s? Like, 10s are nuts. How badly do you want them?
And then they are no longer 10s because they also age.
Right.
And you have to acknowledge that it's just a short-term thinking, really.
Yeah.
Because they will run out of being 10s.
Yeah, Tacticus. Yeah, there is always a remnant. That's just how these systems work. So, I mean, the church isn't going to go away. There will be a remnant of the church that isn't fucked up. But it's not. Well, I mean, we can already look at the church today and agree that it isn't going to be the majority of it. We might not even get to 5% of churches left by the time we're done. But there will be some.
Tacticus, I'll write this song down and I'll check it. I don't think I've heard it before. He's asking me if I heard this song here.
Here, I'll put it up on.
Yeah, put up one. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life. Okay, I'm writing it down.
Okay, Steve wants to add to his prior comment about go ugly early. Women now need to apply that wisdom. Steve, yes, from your lips to God's ears, yes, but they're not going to. No. And we all know that. We all know that. Steve will just be sitting there laughing along. He knows that too. But the ones that do will have better life outcomes after the capitulation event. That's just that's just going to be how it works.
It applies to men too. When you learn from the mistakes of other men, and
sure, but men are more likely to do that.
The wisdom.
Men are more likely to do that, and right now the advice to men with women is, in large degree, don't bother.
True. Not worth it.
For most men, I would just say don't bother.
Yeah.
Because the woman's relationship expectations are insane.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bother. Ignore it. They're irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Just that's why I said they're irrelevant, because they are.
It's not just the woman's expectations; it's also the institutions that encourage those expectations.
Those will fall. Those will fall too. That's what I was. You know, it's great and cathartic to be angry about all this stuff, but if you don't get past it, you can't ever actually get to a solution. And right now, just a little bit more, just take a deep breath, understand that it is happening. It is happening right now in front of your very own eyes. It is accelerating. It will continue to accelerate. That's what a capitulation event does. Just get out of the way. Don't try to catch the falling knife and let it happen.
As my dad said, son, save yourself.
Dads always have the best advice too, don't they? Yeah, but you know, I mean,
Get out
yes,
of the way.
yes, we're laughing, but guys, get out of the way. Like that is honest advice. It is good advice. Get out of the way. So, have we beat this topic to a sufficient pulp?
I think so. Do you have any more questions, guys, in the chat? Drop your questions if you have any. Well, I still have this wise man with me.
Well, it can take a few. It can take a bit for questions to make their way up here, but
yeah.
So, coming up next week, we are trying to put together a stream on Tuesday. I'm still going back and forth on that. We shall see. I don't have exact times. We know what the topic will be, but I don't know if we'll be able to do it. Nick is on board with that. Steve will still be on vacation, so sorry, Steve. Wednesday, we are going to be talking about what again, Nick? What are we going to be talking about on Wednesday?
Young men problems. The problem of young men.
Yes. So that stream's probably going to be. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. It's going to be more like a. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm just showing people the schedule. For
okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we'll be talking about a lot of different things. We'll be covering a lot of different areas of men's lives, but we want to actually focus on young men and answers for young men. You know, the manosphere right now is all about helping older men, and I don't know that that's going to be a viable long-term strategy or how useful it will be. So that's our stream on Wednesday. Let's see. We did get another comment here
from Lone Wolf.
Lone Wolf. I think the biggest knowledge bomb women can't handle is that men don't need to be in a relationship. Yes. And my advice to men is to get comfortable not being in a relationship for a while. There will come a day when the women are, I'm not going to say that they're not delusional, but that women are ready for the relationship that you have to offer.
But it will be on your terms then, not on their terms, because right now it's like it's a seller's market, not the buyer's market.
Right. They'll be ready to accept your terms. Yes. That day will come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But not today, not this year, not for the next 4 years at least. It could be 8 to 10 years from now, unfortunately. How long, it takes 10 miles to stop a super tanker, and we're driving something even bigger than a super tanker. These changes take time. So yeah, just as Lone Wolf says, be fine and happy without them.
Mm-hmm.
This is for all men of all ages. It's okay. It is okay to not have a relationship. And it's even biblically okay to not have a relationship. Was that Paul or Peter who talked about that? I can't remember which one that was.
Well, it's Paul. He's but if you can't burn, he says, if you can contain yourself, fine. But if you can't, you should marry.
Yes. Well, guys, get good at containing yourselves, because you don't want to marry this delusional.
You don't want to marry these women.
Yeah.
Marry these women.
So,
yeah.
So that's our advice. That's what we've got coming up. That's everything that I had on my plate to discuss. Nick, you have anything else you want to say?
Well, there's realistic expectations and unrealistic expectations. Yes, men can even have unrealistic expectations as well.
Yep.
But don't accept that they're unrealistic just because Team Woman or feminism they tell you that it's unrealistic. Your
Yeah.
expectations should comport with reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
True. Yeah. And don't try to get your respect back. Once it's lost forever. I mentioned it in the short video that I made.
Okay. Well,
Okay, guys. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe. Please go support the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. Subscribe to their channel, and we'll see you next time hopefully on Tuesday on the Resurgence of Sanity, and on Wednesday, and then back on Saturday.
yeah. So the Tuesday thing, I'm fairly certain we're going to do it. I just don't have the details worked out yet. I'm trying to get them worked out. So stand by for something on Tuesday. We will post a link to it on both the Resurgence and on Elena's channel when it comes. And it'll be Tuesday evening. I think it'll be 7 Pacific. I think. That's one of the details I haven't confirmed. So there we go.
We'll be looking out for them. Okay. Take care, everyone. Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon.
Later.
Bye.
Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.